Hi, my name is Joni Evans, and when I was 30 years old, my mother died of breast cancer. Though I didn't have a relationship with God, I became very bitter and angry at God. My life started spinning out of control. I turned to relationships to try to fill the void that I had. I was constantly looking for something that was going to make me happy. I thought it would be a person. I had been married several times and had 2 children. I found myself separated from my 4th husband and living alone and raising 2 kids by myself. During this time, anything that Jesus was for, Joni was against. I was out of control. I would go out and party, and one particular Saturday night I went out partying, and the next morning got up and there were lots of dishes piled in my sink. So I decided to wash the dishes, and I dropped a coffee pot and broke it. Well, everybody that knows Joni knows that she cannot go without coffee in the mornings. So I knew I was about to have to do the dreaded deed of going to Walmart. So I got my clothes on, went to Walmart, didn't look at anybody. I didn't want to make eye contact with anybody. Grabbed my coffee pot and headed towards the checkout line. I looked up, and there was a friend of mine that I'd known for 20 years named Danny Cox. Here he comes over to me. The first thing I noticed about Danny was he looked totally different. I didn't know what had changed about him, but something, because that wasn't the Danny Cox that I was used to seeing. And he comes up, hugs me, and says, "Hey Joni, how are you? Haven't seen you." And I looked at him and said, "Danny, what is different about you? You look great. What is going on with you?" And he said, "Well, I invited Jesus Christ into my life, Joni, and he has changed me. I'm not that person anymore that you knew. I'm somebody new now, and I'd love to tell you about it. Do you have about 20 minutes?
I remember seeing Joni in Walmart that day, and I remember going up to her and speaking to her and asking her how the family was and how everything was going, and she looked at me. She looked at me and said, "What's different about you?" And it's the first time, I knew in my heart there was something different about me, but it was the first time that anybody from the outside had ever said anything like that. And at that time, God really prompted me to share what he was doing in my life with Joni. And I asked Joni, after we talked for about 20 minutes, I asked her if she would come to Center Point Church with me. That's where me and my wife had started attending, and she said she would love to.
When he invited me to church, I said, "Yes, I want some of whatever you found. I want that to be part of me." So I started going to church with he and Susan, and I went for several weeks, and then one day I got on my knees in the floor of my home and asked Jesus to come into my life and change me, because I wanted to be renewed and restored and have that empty hole filled. And I became more involved at church. I started by volunteering with the greeting, and then I joined the nursery, and then I got involved with the Connect group and just doing different things with the church. I just enjoy being a part of the church family. I reconciled with my husband. He started coming to church with me, and that's something we do together as a family. And everything is just so much better now that that void in my life has been filled. And I realized it wasn't a person on earth that was filling that void, it was God. God filled that void for me, and it's made big changes in my life.
That day in Walmart was the first time I'd ever shared my faith with anybody, and that day changed my life because I saw how important it was, and it really did matter that I share my faith with people. And the proof of that is Joni's life has changed, and she has really started growing, and when I see that, it just reminds me every day how important it is to share my faith.
If I hadn't run into Danny Cox that day, I don't know what would have happened to my life. I'm sure I would be divorced and still out there searching for something to fill that hole that was in my heart.